Great morning to you. Hopefully everybody is doing wonderful at this time. I hope that you can hear me clearly and that these messages that will come through will be helpful in some way. Today I am using the Rebel deck, the Oracle with Attitude. So viewer discretion is advised. This deck is very blunt and in your face. I hesitated to do this deck, but I thought it would give a little bit of a different reading today, and hopefully that you don't take offense to it. I will read what the cards say, and they do have the F-bomb in these cards, so viewer discretion is advised. If you're easily offended or upset, please continue on to another reader at this point. But this is one of the decks. I got this deck because I felt like maybe it would be more to the point. Maybe to use this deck as a clarifier in some way, and in some of the readings, maybe using some other cards for some to the point clarifications. But as I have said in other my other videos, I'm doing myself a 30-day challenge to go through each and every single one of my decks that I have, whether they be tarot or oracle, and just to get started and just to get going on this journey with recording my daily readings. So I already did my intention for this reading. It is for the collective consciousness, and they are general messages. I will do a 3-card spread, and I ask that my guides and my angels be here with me today and help me to discern what is being said in the cards for messages for you, and who needs to hear this at any point in time. Whenever you come across this is a timeless reading. It is not time specific, whether you come across this reading today or years from now. So, well, with that being said, let's get started. This deck is very interesting. Sometimes it's extremely in your face and just I did a reading yesterday with these cards, and boy, I tell you, it was rough. No, not too rough, but it's definitely a different deck. I do enjoy pulling this deck out every now and again and seeing what the cards have to say through this deck. It's kind of fun to grab them every now and again and and these cards have been shuffling so awesome lately. You can see that. Maybe I need to sit over more. Sit over a little bit more. There we go. And I have my little angel and some of my crystals here. And I hope you are doing well wherever you are. And today is May 9th, Saturday, 2020. Holy Spirit, what messages do you have for the collective consciousness? I'm going to do a 3-card spread. What messages do you have for the collective consciousness as a general read? Let's get into this here. All right, I think we're ready. All right, here we go. You ready? Hope so. This is in your face. All right, I'm only going to be taking the cards that fall onto the table. Just 3 cards today. Holy Spirit, what messages do you have for the collective consciousness that we need to hear? Just a general message. I will only be taking the cards that fall out onto the table. Thank you. I just need 2 more cards. Holy Spirit. I will only be taking the cards that fall out onto the table, please. And thank you. Ooh, that one's a flipper. All right, just 1 more. There we go. Thank you very much, Holy Spirit. Let's see what these messages have to say. Don't believe every shitty thought you have. Thoughts can be sneaky, lying bastards. Like I said, viewer discretion is advised with these cards. They're to the point. I can tell you that. That was the first card that flipped out. The second one is put the fucking phone down. Too much screen time is making you awkward and sad. Go talk to a live person. Maybe we've all been on our phones a little bit too much. We just need to have some conversation with someone else. It's awesome. Thank you. Okay, you think someone is lying. They are. Okay, that one didn't swear, so that's good. And believe me, in normal time, I'm usually talk like a sailor sometimes. So I try to watch what I say. I try to watch that I don't swear too much, but sometimes they do come out. So, alrighty, let's see. Is there any additional messages? Thoughts can be sneaky, lying bastards. Yes, they can. I've noticed for myself as well that sometimes if I get caught in a loop of thoughts, I have to be aware sometimes, more aware of those sneaky, lying little thoughts that kind of come through. That might be lying to me, or that what those thoughts that are coming in are just not, it does not resonate with me, and I feel like, okay, that's not my thought, that's not my energy. So sometimes we have to dismiss certain thoughts that come in, that sneak in, and then to understand that maybe sometimes those thoughts aren't our own. I do believe that we have the capability of telepathy. I do believe that we are capable of doing so much more than what the so-called experts have to say about humanity itself. I do believe that we are capable of doing a lot of things that they say that, you know, oh no, we can't do that, or we're not able to do that, and I call BS on it, actually. I think just because the way society is today and the way that we are raised in general, that, you know, especially in America here, we're taught that basically, no, we're just here, we only use a certain percentage of our brain, we have junk DNA, you know, and I know there's been research done, and I know there's been things done to prove or disprove certain things, but in my heart of hearts and in my gut, I just feel that we are so much more, capable of doing all these neat and interesting things that would seem a bit more on the mystical side. And one of those things is telepathy. I do know in my own experiences at times where I'll be thinking of somebody and they will call, you know, within that day or within the 24 hours that I've been thinking of that person. Whether that's telepathy or not, I do believe that that could be a form of telepathy. Or I'll get a feeling that someone is going to call me, or I'll hear auditorily the phone ringing and it's not actually ringing. But then within a few minutes, the phone starts to ring and I'm getting a phone call in. Just certain little synchronicities like that. I would perceive that more as a telepathy thing. I do believe we're all capable of doing that. I just think that the society and our beliefs and our structure around whatever we're taught in general is just not encouraging or teaching us how to do those things. And some people are a little bit more in tune with that. But sometimes I do feel like, okay, a lot of the thoughts that I've had throughout my lifetime, some of the negative thoughts that come in, were they even mine to begin with? Do I really honestly feel that certain thoughts are really my own, or were they thoughts that I either developed throughout my lifetime, or those disbelief thoughts in myself? The thoughts that you think about when you're putting yourself down, or you're doubting yourself, or you don't have that that positive mindset to where you can believe in yourself, and you just kind of think all the negative things that are coming in, and they can be overwhelming. And sometimes when you pick up those thoughts and those thoughts come in, sometimes you believe them, and it sometimes takes a long time to let go of those thoughts that come in that are saying that you're not enough, and that you're putting yourself down. And how many times were those thoughts maybe not mine, that I struggled with for years on the negative side of things, and not fully understanding how to reverse those thoughts, to get a different perspective. And I know I talked about this yesterday as well, but maybe this is a message for somebody that needs to hear it as well, just for connection, to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that maybe possibly some of these thoughts maybe are not your own, and that you can switch your patterns and your neurological brain. I was talking to my daughter the other day, and she goes through a lot of that as well. And I, sometimes, what was I going to say? Oh, she has a lot of doubt within herself, and she's a beautiful young lady, just coming into adulthood, and she has so much going for her, and just some of the negative things that she says about herself. And I'm trying to teach her to see a different perspective, and maybe try to get her out of that mode, because I know I spent so many years in that mode, and I wasted so much time on what other people thought, and I better watch what I say, I better, and it wasn't like a popularity contest to get people to like me. It was just maybe the mannerisms, the manners that I grew up with, to be respectful of others. And I've come a long way since my early 20s, but just really realizing how much of the programming I went through and how much I have changed since then. And I'm trying to help her to see that she doesn't have to be stuck in that mindset, that sometimes our thoughts can be lying to us, and sometimes our thoughts, once we think something and we believe it, it tends to show out in our reality through our actions. And I'm just trying to help her to get a different perspective, that maybe some of these thoughts are not hers, and she does not have to accept it as her energy. And that's when I had learned also a couple years ago that to start saying, that's not my energy, that is not my energy. And it's helped me on a few things. And I can't believe certain situations that have come up when I've said that just quietly in my mind, and just saying, that's not my energy, that's not my energy, that's not who I am, that is not my energy, and just not accepting those negative thoughts or those negative things that are around you. And sometimes it's other people speaking, and maybe not just putting me down, but maybe they're in a negative loop of speaking about something, and in my mind I will quietly say, that's not my energy, that's not my energy, that's not my energy. And it's helped me not to get dragged into a negative thought pattern. It's helped me to not be stuck. And sometimes I do still get stuck in those thoughts, and sometimes I do dwell on those thoughts. And sometimes I have to catch myself. So it's a daily journey. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Come on. It's a daily journey, and it's become easier and easier and easier since I've been doing that, to where when something comes up in my mind and it just doesn't seem right, or it just doesn't seem me, or, I won't accept it as my energy. So, and I know I keep repeating myself. And it wasn't easy at first. It's an easy thing to do, but sometimes to catch yourself is where it becomes a little bit of a struggle, and you've got to kind of stop yourself for a minute if you're starting to feel certain things that just don't feel right, and just not, you have to be aware of it. All right, moving on to the next card. I had a lot to say about that one. Too much screen time is making you awkward and sad. Go talk to a live person. During this time frame of the pandemic and things going on, to where we are, sheltered in place, basically. And I found myself doing this quite a few times, where I'm just on my phone, whether it was out of boredom or whether it was just wondering what other people were doing, and not to be nosy, but just to kind of get myself up out of boredom, just to kind of get myself up out of, not knowing what to do, even though I have plenty to do, but just feeling that scattered type of energy, just not knowing exactly what to think some days. So sometimes I would get on my phone and just start scrolling through Facebook, just because my energies seemed for a short period of time during this time frame to have been scattered to the wind, I tell you. And I kind of felt like I was walking around just, I don't know, bumbling like a tumbleweed through the wind. But, sometimes having that, not being able to talk to a live person. And I do have my children here. It's not that I don't have people here. But to be able to go out into society and be fully functioning and speak to other people, just to even greet them or say hi or give them a smile, or to have somebody smile back at you. We do need that personal connection with people, even if it's just a wave, it's something as simple as that. So, and I know once all this stuff lifts up, it'll be a little easier to be able to communicate with people in person. But, even if you have to make a, phone call just to speak to a friend or a family member, and not text messaging, because people can take things very easily in the wrong way. And there's nothing wrong with sending a quick text if you have a question, or, I'm not saying you can't text people. I'm just saying, talking to somebody live instead of just throwing, having your thumbs do all the work, have your mouth do all the work. And sometimes we can see what other people are doing, and, sometimes, oh, well, I'm not doing that, and we start thinking and getting into that negative mindset. Oh, geez, my life's not like that, or, or sometimes it can be just this very simple, just the technology itself staring into the screen. And just know when to put it down and walk away from it, I guess, would be the message there. Too much screen time is making you awkward and sad. Go talk to a live person. Well, hopefully soon we can be more engaged into society here soon. So, all right. If you think someone is lying, they are. Well, sometimes we have to know and discern when people are lying to us, and our gut instincts sometimes can speak extremely loudly. I've experienced this a lot in my life, and to where my gut was just gave me that feeling of uneasiness, and thinking, oh my gosh, are they lying to me right now? Just kind of thinking wow, you know, but my nature can tend to be more of the automatically trusting people, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it has definitely led me down some paths that I didn't need to go down if I just would have listened to my first gut instinct and my intuition. And I'm learning a lot about that now. Well, I have been for the last 7 years, a little bit more. I've always known I've had that intuition of that gut feeling. 9 times out of 10, my gut feeling has been right. Like if I, and I am in a situation and my gut's like, no, 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 don't, that screaming, gut wrenching feeling, like, no, don't trust that person. Not that thoughts come into my head, but that feeling from the gut that just kind of stops you and just makes you think for a second. And when you don't listen to it and you continue on, you end up finding out that, my gut reaction was right to begin with. So, and it's just so funny, how many times that has happened to me and I didn't listen to it. And I think that's one of the lessons that I needed to learn in my lifetime here. That if something doesn't feel right, you don't need a reason why it doesn't feel right. Just go with the flow of that feeling and walk away from that person or that situation when you need to before you get yourself in a world of trouble. And that's not to scare anybody, but I don't know if anybody else has had that, gut-wrenching feeling, and then you still continue to talk to that person, and down the road they ended up screwing you over or lying to you in some way or trying to manipulate you. And you just think back and it's like, man, my intuition was spot on. I just didn't listen to it. Because sometimes I feel like, well, they really haven't done anything to me yet, to make me feel this way or make me feel as if I couldn't trust them. But I would have to say 90% of the time my gut instinct was right. So always listen to that first gut reaction that you get. That's your intuition speaking to you, I'll tell you that. So just watch your thoughts. Maybe call somebody and follow your gut instincts. Would be the main objective message today. All right. Well, thank you all for being here today. I appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you're new here, please subscribe. Please like if you liked the video, if this resonated with you. And if you want to share, please share. I hope these messages, you could take at least a small little nugget out of them and, utilize it in your life in some way, shape, or form in a positive manner. I just started doing these videos to share these messages with people. I have been, learning from the get-go, right straight out the gate since December of 2019. And I just decided to jump in with both feet. So here I am. I wanted to share messages with people that would come through, whether I hear the messages, whether I see pictures, and then through the cards as well. So, and using the cards as divination. I do have other forms of divination that I will be going through, but I am still kind of learning those a little bit more. The cards I have worked with, the most, and there's still a lot to learn. It is definitely a process. That's why these videos are like a blog, a vlog in a sense, and recording my progression and recording my learning. And some of the oracle cards can be straight to the point. Hint, hint. They're not, too hard to pick up on, but, and then I will refer to things that have happened to me as well, in my life, that things, maybe there's something somebody can learn from my past unbeneficial decisions in some way, shape, or form. So May you all be blessed today and in your life. I hope all is well. And come join me tomorrow. Thank you so much. You have a great day, and namaste.